Have you ever stared into a body of water and seen your reflection staring back? What if it wasn't your reflection? What if it was something else, something waiting for you? In a small, forgotten town nestled deep in a valley, there's a river. By day, it's beautiful, sparkling under the sun, a lifeline for the community. But when the sun goes down, the river changes. The townsfolk have an unspoken rule: never ever go near the river after dark. They don't talk about why, they just know. It started generations ago with hushed whispers and terrified glances. Old Man Hemlock was the first, they say. He swore he saw his wife's face in the water one night, smiling up at him. After that, the stories began to multiply. People reported seeing faces in the water that didn't belong to anyone in town. Strange, pale faces with hollow eyes, mouths opening and closing as if trying to speak. Then the reflection started to look familiar. The same face that a fisherman swore he saw his brother's face floating on the surface. A week later, his brother's boat capsized and they found the empty vessel, but not the body. It became clear the river wasn't just reflecting things, it was showing them. It was a mirror into a watery grave, a prophecy of who it would claim next. The town learned to fear the water, to respect its nocturnal power. The reflections became omens. If you saw someone you knew in the river at night, you'd do everything in your power to keep them away from any body of water, be it a lake, a pond, or even a bathtub. Mostly it didn't. The river always gets what it wants. Children were taught from birth: don't play by the riverbank when shadows grow long. If you hear a voice calling from the water, cover your ears and run. Don't look. Never look. Because once you see it, it sees you, and it will never forget your face. This is where my story comes in. I grew up with these legends, these warnings. I thought they were just that, stories. Folklore to scare kids into behaving. I was a teenager, full of that reckless confidence that makes you feel invincible. My friends and I would dare each other to get closer and closer to the river after sunset, laughing at the old superstitions. We never saw a thing. The water was just black and silent. One night, on a dare, I went all the way to the edge. It was a moonless night, the kind where the darkness feels thick and heavy. I leaned over, my heart pounding more from the thrill than from any real fear. I expected to see nothing but the inky blackness. But then a faint light began to glow from beneath the surface. It swirled and coalesced, forming an image. A face. It was pale, with waterlogged hair clinging to its skin. Its eyes were wide and empty, and its mouth was agape in a silent scream. It was a face I recognized instantly from old photographs. It was my great-grandfather, who drowned in this very river 80 years ago. I stumbled back, my bravado gone, replaced by a cold primal fear. I ran. I didn't stop running until the lights of my house were in sight. I didn't tell anyone what I saw. Who would believe me? They'd just say it was my imagination, fueled by local legends. For years, I stayed away. I moved out of that town, went to college, and tried to build a life far from that cursed river. I tried to forget the face in the water, but it's hard to forget something that haunts your dreams. Every time I saw a puddle, a fountain, even a glass of water, I'd see a flash of that submerged face, those empty eyes. The disappearances continued back home. Each time I'd get a call, and I'd know. The river was patient. It could wait years to collect its due. Then, a few months ago, the nightmares got worse. I started hearing whispers, a sound like water rushing, even in my dead silent apartment. I felt a pull, a longing to go back. It was an irrational, deep-seated need to return to the one place I swore I'd never see again. I fought it for as long as I could, but the feeling was overwhelming, like a physical string was tied to my soul, pulling me back. So I returned. The town hadn't changed. The same old houses, the same fearful eyes. The unspoken rule about the river was more entrenched than ever. I told myself I was just there to visit family, to prove to myself that I was no longer afraid. Last night, I broke the rule. I don't know why. Maybe I had to face it. Maybe the river called to me in a way I couldn't resist. I walked down the familiar path, the air growing colder as I approached the water. The river was still, like a sheet of black glass reflecting the starless sky. I stood at the edge, my breath held tight in my chest. I stared into the depths, waiting, and then it happened again. A light began to glow. It grew brighter, and a face began to form. It was older than the one I saw as a teenager. The hair was matted, the skin unnaturally pale. The eyes were wide with terror. And as the face became crystal clear, a horrifying realization washed over me. It was my face. I was staring at my own reflection, but it wasn't a reflection. My mouth on the surface opened, and a voice, gurgled and distorted by water, whispered a single word. My name. It wasn't just showing me my face. It was calling me home. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like or share and subscribe and leave a comment or follow for more folklore legends.